All right. Hello, everybody. Whoever's out there, welcome to a special one-night performance. Actually, maybe more than one night performance, but this night performance of Rat's Nest. My name is Jeremy. I'm with Ecumen Collective. Ecumen Collective is an artist collective, an international artist collective. And tonight, as I said, we're featuring Rat's Nest, a one-act play on love, grief, anger, and crossword puzzles. It's adapted from a stage play, which was performed at 2 London venues. And the group of players tonight, who, because they don't have a name, we're calling them Pedro Santos' Merry Band of Players of Greater Middlesex, are all friends that met at uni, which is British for university, at Middlesex. And it's truly an international crew. They're coming at you from Portugal, London, Toronto, and coming together tonight to put on a performance for you. So a quick content warning, there are themes related to grief and suicide, and there's going to be a little bit of language. So if you're offended by that kind of thing, you might want to hop off. Otherwise, stay on, sit back, relax, and enjoy Rat's Nest. Okay, take it away.
I was going to do it. I was going to go upstairs into the bathroom, run myself a bath, and I was going to cut my wrists. I really was. I was going to let the water run into my bloodstream and kill myself.
Now, for a 3-year-old to be thinking like that, that's depressing. I was going to jump off a building, scared of heights. I was going to jump off a bridge, but the braces on my trousers got caught and I ended up bungee jumping 10 feet into the sky and landing on a poor old lady's corgi. I tried to hire a hitman to kill me, but he could only do Tuesdays and I work on Tuesdays. Last time, a few days ago, I was going to jump in front of a train, but it was delayed by 23 minutes. Each time, though, I thought, fuck the system! Yeah! Fuck the system! I didn't know what the system was, but fuck it. Do you know what I mean? I've never been very good at this suicide thing. The only thing we are born to do is die, and I'm pretty bad at it. Quite good at killing people, though.
You done it, yeah?
Morning!
Did Mum give you it?
What?
What I gave her to give to you?
What, a crossword?
Yeah, that. Have you done it?
No.
It's been like a week.
It's been like a week, or it's been a week.
I'm
not being pedantic, just pernickety or potentially punctilious. Definitely not meticulous. Having said that,
Oh, you're being an arse is what you're being.
scrupulous.
Martha, why haven't you done it?
Haven't had time.
It's been a week.
Well, it's actually been 6 days, so.
Martha!
Look, Reese, I've told you once and I'll say it again. Trying is the first step towards failure. So always aim low to avoid disappointment. Why should I bother doing a crossword?
A cryptic crossword?
Assiduous maybe, attentive, sedulous.
Martha!
Look, Reese, I haven't had time, all right? I was thinking about doing it tomorrow. Maybe. Okay?
Oh, suppose. Do it now.
What?
Well, what else are you going to do?
Think about having a cup of tea.
3 down.
Dictionary leader is sometimes unhappy. 6 letters. Dictionary leader is sometimes unhappy. Nope.
What the hell are you playing at? You've only just started, you Burke.
Burke.
Yeah, Burke. Burke is in Berkeley Hunt. Hunt rhymes with cunt, but you can't say hunt because people know that you're calling them a cunt, so you say Burke. It's Cockney rhyming slang.
Don't call me a
I
cunt.
didn't call you a cunt, I called you a Burke.
Dictionary leader is sometimes unhappy. Leader suggesting the first letter of the sentence, perhaps. So the letter D, that's the start of the word. Sometimes unhappy, sometimes. So it can be 2 different versions potentially, or negative versions, which are the same but different. So D, D, E, and another word for happy could be D, 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 D. Fine. Dictionary leader, sometimes unhappy, define.
Bingo.
Crossword.
Right. Go on then, mate. Next one.
How's the girlfriend?
What?
How is she?
Oh, the relationship is over.
How can you tell?
Well, we saved a pigeon, but it died on our parents' kitchen table. So inevitably, the relationship will end soon. Oh, she also wrote out all of my flaws.
Jesus.
Well, that's just the table of contents. This is the actual list.
True. Is that it?
Right.
Left. Doesn't mean the relationship's over.
It is. She said it.
What? She actually said the relationship is over.
Yeah. She said, Reese, this relationship is over.
Mate, relationship's over.
Yeah, well, that's what I got from it. Oh, well. Next one.
Can I go out for a stick picnic?
No, that shit will kill you.
So could a bus.
Or a noose.
Conan and Red beside an occupied hotel bed. Conan and Red. Red meaning book associated with Conan, Arthur Conan Doyle. Okay, occupied hotel bed. Occupied involves 2 things, the user and the used. So 2 things together, 2 words. Hotel, Trivago, hotel bed. Who hangs out in a hotel bed? A guest. Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes. Doyle wrote Sherlock Holmes. Unread, so not done yet, not solved. Mystery, put guest and mystery together. Mystery guest. Regan's title of Lady Exorcist.
How the hell did you get that one so fast?
Blatty is the author of The Exorcist, of which the little devil creature omen thingy is called Regan. Look, Reese, what's the point? It's not going to change anything, is it?
Oh, such a pessimist.
I'm optimistically pessimistic. I'm happy with my natural unhappiness.
Are you?
Mate, I'm just not that into this right now.
Oh, come on. You've only got 2 more left.
Yes, I know, but
Do you hear about that story?
oh yeah, that story about that person and that thing who did that other thing.
No, you buck. The one about... Well, I saw it on the news. The one about the Siamese twins. Well, one of the Siamese twins was deaf, dumb, and blind. And the other, his brother, wasn't. He could see. He could hear. And he weren't that dumb, neither. But he weren't all that happy. His whole life was looking after his brother and feeding his brother, and he just couldn't take it. So one day, he decided to end it. He took a knife to his throat and sliced away like bread. The other brother, the deaf, dumb and blind one, couldn't understand why he wasn't being fed anymore or not having thumb wars or whatever it is that Siamese twins would do if one of them was deaf, dumb and blind. Had he done something wrong? Anyway, the dead brother was just hanging off the deaf, dumb and blind one, limp at first, but then slowly he began to harden due to the rigor mortis, and the weight was crippling for the already highly crippled deaf, dumb and blind brother who now had to sit down and could never stand up again. 5 days passed until they were found, but it was too late. The deaf, dumb and blind brother and also died. How? I'm not sure. Maybe it was the cold, hunger, boredom. Personally, I think it was the rigor mortis passing into him from the dead brother on his right side and paralyzing him to death from the inside out. You know, the liver would go first, and the lungs, and then the heart. I mean, imagine that, actually dying of a broken heart. Anyway, I saw that on the news.
Thanks for that, Martin McDonough.
Who?
The guy who wrote that.
Oh, could be. I never bothered to check the reporter's name.
He's a playwright and a director and just a legend, to be honest.
Well, theatre is a kind of reporting, isn't it?
He did in Bruges.
Bruges, where's that?
Belgium.
Oh, Belgium? France's retarded cousin. Oh, God, that must be a dull movie.
It's actually really good.
Ow.
Don't say that about Belgium. I've got a story.
You've got a story.
I've got a story, I do. A story that's full of heart and depth and emotion and everything in between. A story indeed. Now, what was it?
Oh, you don't have a story.
I do have a story. I've just got to think of it. Now, what was it? Aha.
Aha.
Aha. Take on me. I've got something better than a story.
Something better than a story.
A poem.
A poem?
A poem, better than a story. Get straight to the point, a poem. Go on, name a poet that's kicking about today. I dare you.
I don't know.
Because there isn't one.
Get away.
Apart from me.
From you?
From me.
Nah, mate. You are definitely not a poet. Mum has never said anything about you being a poet. She'd have definitely said something if you was a poet.
I am a poet. Listen out. You ready?
I'm ready.
You sure you're ready? Poetry is a powerful thing. A mate of mine once died from a poem.
Get away!
It's true. Death by poetry.
Give over!
I mean it. Well, he was reading the poem whilst crossing a street, but death by poetry nonetheless.
Well, go on then.
Oh, God. Oh, oh.
I try and I try with all my might, but the socks were too tight. They had shrunk in the wash, and at a heavenly cost, I had to buy new socks.
What does it mean?
Obvious, isn't it?
Not really.
The socks represent a missing identity in the patriarchal society that is dominated by the media.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course they do. Say it again now that I know that.
You sure?
Dead sure.
You ready?
Born ready.
I try and I try with all my might, but the socks were too tight. They had shrunk in the wash, and at a heavenly cost,
What?
I had to buy new socks.
Yeah, I suppose it does represent the struggle of finding an identity in a patriarchal society that's dominated by the media.
Told you.
Right, we'll go to the next one.
Next one, what?
Next prostate exam. Crossword, you pillock.
Mate, I'm sort of bored of this.
Oh, come on. You've only got 2 more to go. I am ending Latin alone.
I am ending Latin alone. I am ending Latin alone. Ends in a Latin phrase of which everything does. I am the starter. I start with the word alone. Okay, so another word for alone could be lonely, confide, solitude, starting with an I. Isolate. Ends in a Latin phrase. Well, that's piss easy. The Latin suffix of ion and isolate, isolation. Disregard all but the middle snake of Cleopatra's Nile origin after become wild. Should be having become wild, not after become wild. Okay, disregard all but the middle snake origin. The word origin meaning the first snake of the Nile, perhaps, which is aspis, also known as asp. Disregard all but this middle snake. Snake being a sibilant alliteration with the letter S, which is also the middle snake of the word asp. Okay, so the word starts with the letter S. Cleopatra's snake, Cleopatra's Nile, Cleopatra used snakes too.
my suicide is fine. I am aware of the fact that the Nina slightly bends the rules.
What is it that I could have done to make you not sad? Because this is not what I want. I don't want this. I don't need this. So what is it that I could have done to make you not do that?
I don't know, it's hard to explain.
What do you need to tell me now? Because in 15 minutes, I'm down the A3, ready for you to be eaten by worms. And once it's done, mate. It's gone, game over. You are officially dead. So you need to tell me now because you need to explain to me why. Why are you being so fucking selfish? Such a fucking coward to mess me over. Why would you do that? I didn't mean that, Reese.
No. No, it's fine.
I'm sorry.
No. It's done now. It's just I can't explain it.
Try.
It's like a thing. A thing which is cold and dark and mean and ugly and not nice, and all it does is scream. That's all it does. Scream really, really loudly. Do you know what I mean? Well, you see, the thing is, when that monster isn't there for maybe a day or a week or longer, you feel, well, at least I do, normal. Like, no, forget that. You feel better than normal. You feel like, oh, this is what it must feel like to be David Bowie or Noel Gallagher, Nebworth. You feel like there's no chance anyone could be feeling any better than you do at that given moment in time, because briefly, for a moment, the noise is drowned out by the silence, and you can see utter perfection. And when that happens, you don't want to think about that little monster because it's not there anymore. It's like a paper cut. It hurts a lot then, but when it's gone, not so much. You know the pain. You remember that you felt it, but you don't feel it anymore. So you just say to yourself, hey, what was all that fuss about? I don't know why I did it. I don't know why. I don't know why, and I just did it, and I can't not do it. And I don't know if it's what I want anymore. I don't know if I want to be dead anymore. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Of course, that's not what happened.
No. No, that's not what happened. Well, sort of, but not really. I went into your room, your bedroom. You were there on the floor. A see-through plastic bag with one of those little plastic secure things. And it was fixed and tight around your head, and you'd used up all the air. And so it was sucked in, and you looked at me, and you struggled when you saw me. I could tell you didn't want to die. I could tell. So I started looking around the room, and I tried to grip the bag, to rip it open, to save you. But I couldn't. And then I was looking for something, anything to help me move the bag. And I couldn't. Fuck!
I killed you, ma'am. I fucking killed you.
Did that hurt?
Yeah.
Do you regret it?
No. Yes.
Do you want me to get Mum?
No. I don't want Mum. I don't need Mum.
Mum downstairs?
Yeah.
Dad as well?
Yeah.
And Dad's girlfriend?
Yeah.
Oh, and Mum Stewart?
Yeah.
What? All downstairs?
Yeah.
Or like together?
Yeah.
Bug out, mate. World War III will commence at tea time with that crew at the bar. Oh, God, I'm glad I'm not there. You can have that. You know, the great thing about being dead is that you're never forced into spending time with your own family. Oh, come on, mate, I'm only joking. I'm sure it'll be good fun. Can't spell funeral without fun. Mm. Mm. Not going to do that again.
No, don't do that.
I'm gonna head off now. Gonna go get ready or something. Bye.
Bye.
I was going to do it. I was going to go into the bedroom, a see-through plastic bag with one of those little plastic secure things. It's not a matter of wanting to die, but a matter of not wanting to live. The thing is, though, if I did that, the only reason I would never do that is my brother. If I did that, he would have no one to talk to, no one would get him. I'm not being egotistical, it's the truth. You have the same blood, the same upbringing, the same way of thinking. So if I did that, if I actually did that, kill myself, what would he do? Don't get me wrong, this is a fucking depressing play, but it's helped me put some things into perspective. At the end of the day, it's about one thing: love and grief. So, two things: love, grief, and anger. Three things: love, grief, anger, and crosswords. Four things: love, grief, anger, and crosswords. But that's life, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Bravo! Wow, that was really good. That was really compelling. Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much. Excellent work, excellent. So it is really late where the actors are and the directors are, but we're gonna have a quick Q&A. And I have a few questions for you guys. Maybe the obvious question is, how does an online production differ from an in-person production? And whoever wants to chime in, feel free to chime in.
I think because, so when we first did it, we did it in a theatre. And so it meant that sort of with the audience, it meant that we sort of had that reaction, whereas we can't see if people are laughing, cheering, or crying, or whatever, booing, whatever it might be on Facebook. And so that's sort of a weird dynamic that we've had to kind of deal with. But on the flip side of that, sort of being able to play with all these camera angles, sort of tricking the audience into what they can see, into what they can't see, and all of that has been like a really interesting thing that we've played with, and so that sort of I've probably enjoyed the most about it being online. Yeah.
So do you think there's with this sort of the special capabilities of this type of theater, do you think there's a future for this, or is this just a pandemic thing?
Oh no.
My girlfriend was watching it, and it's really compelling to see it from different angles. It's like watching a movie in real time. It really adds another layer to it. So
yeah, I don't know. I think it's more of like a sort of crossover, isn't it, than like a new genre. That's kind of how I see it, because it's like there's something really interesting about I found through doing like sort of and watching things like this during the pandemic. There's something interesting about taking a text or something that's written for one medium and putting it in kind of a place where it doesn't belong and seeing what happens. Like, I think we were able to kind of explore new kind of things with the idea of being watched and in this kind of very small space this time, with this one. And yeah, I think obviously we've been restricted during the pandemic, but I think it's been really exciting and healthy to kind of, as primarily theatre artists, experiment with kind of all kind of filmic stuff over Zoom and all that stuff. Pedro, I know, has directed quite a few Zoom-based things, so he'll probably have quite a good take on this. But yeah,
just to add to it really quickly, yeah, and for Pedro, has this kind of spawned a lot of new ideas for you? You start to think, oh yeah, I could adapt this play and add this whole other element to it.
Yeah, I think definitely. And I think Maja, that is with us on the call, was part of that sort of really surprise element, because as Katie and Toby said, we did it on stage before, and on stage we had like an actual crossword element. So now is really creating the illusion and putting the attention on the crossword. For example, how would we do that? That was very exciting. And yeah, I totally agree with Toby. I think there's an actual future. I almost think of it like independent live film that is kind of happening with our cameras and devices and all that, and that's working in different countries coming together in different time zones. Putting this. So yeah, I think definitely there's a future, and definitely I will take some of those things onwards with me for sure, definitely.
Yeah, I find it. So you're not kind of chomping at the bit to get back to just in-person theater and say you're thinking, oh, maybe there's a future for this, and I'd like to add this into my in-person theatrical pursuits.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's things that we've learned through doing it on Zoom that we can take to sort of the stage. And then on the flip side, there's stuff that obviously we brought from the stage that we've able to bring here on Zoom. So I think, yeah, sort of what Toby was saying, where it's not two completely separate things, but there's a crossover and there's going to be that grey area. And from that, I think probably more interesting art and more interesting theatre is going to develop. And because sort of obviously in lockdown and stuff, we've had this time to really play around with all the different things and different mediums and stuff like that, different effects. And so I think as bad as a pandemic was, this is going to be like sort of a really, really good thing for art and for theatre. And it's quite exciting to see what's going to be happening next. So yeah.
Fantastic. So what is next? What is next for, maybe each of you could answer. Do you have specific projects you're working on next, or doing something together as an ensemble? Did you like my name for it, Pedro?
Yeah, it's a company like that. I'm gonna register as
a ring to it.
Name. Definitely, I'm that egotistical, so I'm definitely gonna do that.
So yeah, so what's next for each of you?
You crack on.
Just a hand actor, or if you're also if you do other types of acting.
I think a lot of us kind of do a few different things. A lot of us do a bit of acting and a bit of directing and writing as well, you know. And it's strange how kind of projects that have been kind of slowly kind of accumulating pace when we've all been kind of away from each other, have recently, I think, started to gain a bit more kind of acceleration and as things start to open, and theatre looks like it might come back to something close to what we used to know it as. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I've got a few projects in the works, but nothing firm I can plug here, I don't think, but other people might. Yeah, but that's kind of the nature of the game in some ways.
Yeah, I'm sort of quite similar to Toby in that, yeah, I've sort of, because I've got a full-time job, and so it's just doing theatre and stuff is something that I enjoy. But on that as well, I would really kind of like to take Rat's Nest to fringes and tour it and sort of take it all over where we can, and sort of once Pedro's back in the UK, and sort of really
sort of work on it and develop it to getting it to it's sort of incorporating everything that we've done. But yeah, again, nothing else that I can really plug, just a couple of things working on in the background. But yeah.
Yeah, and thinking, just because we do focus on all types of artists in Ecumen Collective, not necessarily just the full-time artists, but people that are really passionate about it. So thinking about that as well. How are you moving forward as an artist, and trying to make ends meet and make, do life on life's terms and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Maja is a current university student as well, it should be said. So this is this is something she's been juggling with that kind of lifestyle and her studies, and it's kind of, we find ways to fit it in. We all have very different kind of lifestyles. When you kind of arrange everyone's availability into a schedule, I expect Pedro doesn't enjoy that very much, because we're all doing very different
I'm
things.
desensitized to it by now.
Yeah.
Send it to me and I'll make it work if I
Yeah.
can.
But that's the way, isn't
I
it?
think, I think there was this specific play kind of helped, because I mean, we had done this before, which was good because we didn't have much rehearsals for this. Not many rehearsals, or normally what amount of rehearsals one would have. But it's good that we got this, because, and in the previous time they did it, the actors got so acquainted with the characters and everything that we felt quite an easy click for them to get back in. And then once we got Maja on, that definitely changed everything and really made this piece ever so more like important. Really. So thank you, Maja. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Maja.
Very much so. Yeah.
And like Maja, even though she's not there, maybe we don't see her physically, she's a really good actress as well, and unbelievably talented too.
And so what's next for you, Pedro?
I've been I actually have a show on Saturday. so it's been like one show per week lately.
Great.
So I have this one, and then in 2 weeks I have another one. So it's just been really quick changes. I don't know how many scripts I know in my head. It's quite mad. Need to sleep. But I'm sort of also in between projects, more in Portugal actually than in London, but with helps of going back to London, and putting some works on, and as Katie said, definitely doing Rat's Nest again, and combining the stage version we did with some elements of this online version that we have created.
Yeah. Go ahead, Maja. Yeah.
What's next for you?
Well, I need to finish uni, because I still need to do my third year, and I'm very excited for that because I'll be doing some stand-up, so I'm mostly focusing on that now, and writing some solo shows. So that's it for me, but nothing specific, just working on my skills and finishing uni and going to the real world after that.
Fantastic. So just two more questions, and then I'll let you guys get to bed. You mentioned that you said that this play was specifically British, or that there was some kind of British element to it. Can you elaborate on that, if you can elaborate, or if that was just a kind of offhanded comment? I don't know.
Is that Pedro that said that?
Yeah.
Pedro, you crack on.
I was like, my Portuguese man said it was a British play. Okay. I think it's more of a question also for the writer Holly, which is unbelievably talented as well. Holly is our age, and she wrote a play like this, and I find that always very, very surprising. But I think there's a lot of British humor to it. I believe. I think at some point it gets in universal humor, but there's definitely some jokes in the play that we try to adapt to a more American audience too, not in terms of rewriting it, but trying to place them in different spaces. But the one said here, but there's jokes relating to specific places in England. There's a whole deal of sarcasm in a lot of parts, and the whole, for example, when Reese and Martha talking about the girlfriend, and he says, well, we saved the pigeon, but it died on her parents' kitchen table, so the relationship is over, which doesn't make any sense at all. But I found my time of being in London to that sort of sarcasm being like sort of everywhere, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And
my girlfriend and I, we were debating, well, we weren't debating, but we watched the American Office and the British Office, and we decided that the British Office is far superior.
Wow.
But it's a certain
Bold statement, yeah.
particular sense of humor too, like you're describing.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
People will come for you, Jerry.
People will come for you whichever one you say, though.
Yeah.
So you might as well just pick a side, you know.
Yeah.
So I think definitely. I think there's, but at the heart of it, it's like a story, and it's a compelling story that has comedy and a more serious part as well, and they kind of mix together, I think.
And I think as well, sort of with the sort of darker themes that are discussed with it, it's so universal in that regardless of who you are, where you are, like anything like that, you can be facing these kind of thoughts and these struggles. And so although it is sort of on the comedy aspect, it's quite British, but it's also very relatable to anybody in any audience. So yeah, that's quite nice as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we'll end it on a bit of a lighter note, but just because I'm American and you guys are British, and that's just being British is just so cool. I just wanted to end by learning some British slang from you guys.
Oh God.
Just one word a piece, just your favorite British slang that may be a little bit obscure that we may not know in other parts of the world. If you can think of it, if not, that's fine.
I'm trying to think.
The thing is that London has a lot of slang that the rest of the UK doesn't necessarily use very much.
Crack on, teach us something.
Yeah, look, oh no, it went. Oh no. I'm trying to think, because I say stuff to Pedro all the time and then he relates it back to me, but because you just don't think about it, it's just like part of your.
Well, Pedro is great at this, because Pedro, and I found this from knowing. No, I'm not setting you up to provide a word, Pedro. But what I was going to say is it's very fun, like knowing Pedro, because ever since I first met him, he has a brilliant kind of ability to notice kind of strange things we say in the UK. But this is the thing, is that I don't kind of instinctively think of them. Pedro has often picked up on various words that's definitely that I've used. He used to love. It's not really British slang. He used to love the way we use the word shambles. I seem to remember having a conversation. We use that a lot. Yeah.
And that actually came from Toby, because Toby sometimes looks at something. He was like, "That was rather shambles," and I was like, "That is an amazing word." You have shambles. Shambles is quite nice.
Shambles, great.
There's a good intensifier that kind of like we say bear instead of like.
Oh yeah, bear. Yeah.
As in BARE. So it's like that's bear cool. It's
That's
like I
bear
don't sound bear cool saying that. But you know, it's basically instead of very. That's quite a London one.
Yeah. And then you've got things like, this is because I'm sort of Midlands, so this might just be to the Midlands. I'm not too sure, but you've got things like peng, leng, all of those kind of weird.
Peng and leng.
Yeah, and then from that, which means like fit or hot or that kind of thing, is now developed into if somebody walks down the street who you find attractive and they're like, oh yeah, they're lengers. And it's just not, it's like, it sounds so horrible.
It sounds like we're making them up. This is the problem, is that we can just say sounds and yeah.
I think my favourite is probably like a proper classic one, which is calling someone a minger.
Minga.
So a minger, yeah. So it just means it's like it's a bad word.
It's
like
not very kind.
yeah, you wouldn't say it to someone who you like, and it's usually sort of related to someone who doesn't really who wash or you just don't like their attitude or anything like that. They're like, oh yeah, they're a right minger, like that kind of thing. And that's probably my favourite one. I don't use it that often, but yeah.
I love this. And I mean, by this one, I know we're wrapping up, but now, Jeremy, if I can say so myself, you are our Giza.
Oh yeah, nice one.
You are a geezer.
You are Giza, which is you are our pal. You are our.
Yeah.
I didn't know you use Giza like that. I listened to the streets though, and I remember him always saying Giza.
Yeah, the streets are brilliant. Yeah. He would.
Giza. All right, I like it. Well,
You're a natural.
Brilliant too.
Yeah.
All right. Our geezers. And Maya, did you want to chime in before we finish up?
Oh, I'm not British, so I find this really hard because
Make fun of us. Go on.
There's one word I really like to use that people say that it's very British, that when I'm even slightly disappointed, I just say, oh, I'm gutted. I'm just
Oh yeah.
I like saying that. So I'm just, oh, I'm slightly upset and disappointed, I just say I'm so utterly gutted. That's all.
That's a good one.
And then there's loads of other ones, but it's not politically correct to say them. Like on Facebook Live, they're just coming to my head now. Really funny.
Well, we'll have to meet at the pub someday, and you can extrapolate and share the rest of them with us. But I want to thank you guys again. I wish we had a whole audience to give you a round of applause and a standing ovation. That was truly fantastic. Thank you for your artistry. Thanks for your your determination and your commitment to creating art. It's a beautiful thing, and it was a great play. Love the directing, and acting was fantastic. So thank you guys so much for coming out, and we hope to have you back and have another show in the future.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you
It's been a pleasure,
for showcasing us. It's been absolutely wonderful. So
Thank
yeah.
you so much. Thank you. All right, we'll crack on.
Good night.
Have a good time.
Right.
See you later.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Wow.